Have you ever noticed how something as simple as changing the volume of your computer can be so annoying?
I spend hours editing and switching between apps, and every time I need to adjust volume, it completely throws me off. So I built my own solution. This is a small USB connected control panel that gives me proper volume control, plus a few extra functions that I use every day.
It sounds simple, but it fixed something that's been bugging me for years. So let's take a look at how it came together. The main reason why I built this project is actually pretty silly.
It all started because I wanted direct physical control over my new PC, specifically for volume. I didn't want to think about keyboard shortcuts, sliders, or which app I'm using at the moment.
I just wanted to reach over, turn a knob, and be done with it. And you might be asking, why didn't you just get a Stream Deck? Well, although it is a great product, I still wanted something that I could customize much more for my own needs.
I mainly wanted a volume knob, a few custom controls, and some features that Stream Decks simply don't have, all for a lower price.
But another big reason why I wanted to build this is because I wanted it to be a proper project, not a one-off gadget that just lives on my desk. And I owe a lot of that inspiration to Arc.
Arc is a platform where makers all over the world share their projects, and seeing such an awesome tech community is what encouraged me to make this project open source from the start. It's also where I posted all the files you need to build your own version.
Now, before going any further, let's quickly go over the main components because they basically define what this device can do.
At the center of everything is an ESP32S2 Mini, which handles the USB connection to the PC, all the inputs, outputs, and even Wi-Fi for extra features. For volume control, I'm using a rotary encoder because that's the whole point of this project, a physical knob you can turn without looking. Then I added 4 capacitive touch sensors for extra shortcuts. This means that there aren't really any other moving parts besides the knob. There's also a small 1.5-inch monochrome OLED to display menus and useful info for when the device is idle. I also added addressable LED lights and a small buzzer. The buzzer is there for simple beeping sounds, and the LEDs for visual feedback and to make the device look cool when it's not doing anything. Kinda like RGB RAM sticks.
And now that I think about it, when the hell did we decide that RAM needed LED light? Anyway, everything else is just support parts for wiring, which we'll get into once we start putting everything together. Now, before designing anything, I needed to answer a very basic question. Would all of those components actually work together as a complete system?
So, to answer that, I built the entire circuit on a breadboard.
Nothing crazy here, just the ESP32, all the other components, and a shit ton of jumper wires. It didn't look good, but that wasn't the point. I was just trying to prove the idea. The most important thing to verify at this point was whether the ESP32 could control the computer's volume over USB.
Not every microcontroller can do that, and if this part didn't work, the whole project would have been dead on arrival. So before anything else, I focused on making sure the computer recognized it properly and responded to volume commands.
Once that worked, I tested everything together to make sure that the system behaved consistently.
Turning the encoder, pressing touch sensors, updating the display, everything needed to respond the same way every time. From there, I started coding the main functions I wanted the device to have, like a clock with current weather data and other apps such as a timer, while still leaving room to refine things later once the hardware was fully built. When everything finally felt solid, that was the green light.
At that point, I knew I could move on and start turning this from a breadboard experiment to the really cool device that would belong on my desk.
With the electronics out of the way, the next step was figuring out how this thing should actually look and feel on my desk. I went with an angled design so it would be comfortable to use.
The idea was to make everything easy to reach and easy to read without having to look down for too long.
The volume knob is the main focus, with everything else placed around it to support that. And the main body is split into 3 different parts. That wasn't a design choice as much as a practical one.
Splitting it up makes the enclosure much easier to 3D print and assemble.
It also includes 3 separate lids to make it easier to open later on if I want to tweak the hardware. At the bottom, there is a thin white section that might look decorative, but it's actually the LED lights diffuser. The LEDs sit inside the case, and that narrow strip is what displays the colors. Once the design was finalized, I started printing all the parts. Most of the enclosure was printed in black PLA, with a few accent pieces in silver to match the CAD model, and the diffuser printed in translucent PLA.
With all the parts printed, it was finally time to assemble everything. Before starting though, a couple of quick notes.
For this build, hot glue is essential. Think of it as your best friend. I also used 30 gauge wire for all the connections.
Okay, let's get into it.
I started with the front section of the main body. First, I hot glued the 4 capacitive touch sensors into their slots. Once they were secured, I soldered wires to each one, following the circuit diagram that you'll be able to find on Arc. Next, I soldered wires to the OLED display, the buzzer, and the rotary encoder. After that, I placed all three into the front part of the enclosure and hot glued them in place. For the encoder, I attached the knob first so I could align it properly before adding the glue. With the front section done, I moved on to the LEDs.
You might have noticed that these ones are smaller than the ones I used for the prototype. That's because for this device, a more subtle light worked better. They actually use the same LED chip, just in a different form factor, which made them much easier to integrate.
I cut 2 strips of 12 LEDs each and attached them to the bottom section of the enclosure using the adhesive on the strips. I then reinforced everything with hot glue to make sure they wouldn't come loose over time. Once the LEDs were mounted, I superglued the translucent diffuser onto the bottom section. After that, I glued the second and third parts of the main body together, making sure to pass the LED wires through the opening between them. Then I attached the front section, completing the main enclosure. At this point, all the components were physically in place. I hot glued the ESP32 into the enclosure and started connecting the remaining wires, again following the circuit diagram. It might look like a mess of wires at first, but it's not difficult.
You just need to take your time and do it properly. I would compare it to like building a big Lego set.
Once everything was connected, I glued in the button covers with their black backing pieces underneath. After that, I connected a USB cable to the ESP32 and routed it through the internal channels of the enclosure. With everything wired up, I superglued the back lid in place and screwed in the remaining 2 lids to close the case. Now, this part is optional, but I also added a non-slip silicone pad to the bottom so it doesn't slide around my desk when I use it. The final step was the volume knob. I removed it from the encoder, superglued the decorative parts together, and then pressed it back onto the encoder shaft. And with that, the device was fully assembled and ready to be powered on. I did test it again at this stage and made a few small firmware tweaks. For example, I originally had a counter that tracked the computer's volume level, but since Windows doesn't always change the volume linearly, especially when adjusting it quickly, the device could get out of sync.
In the end, I had to simplify the interface to avoid that problem. Now, before I show you what this thing can do, I want to quickly explain where this project lives. As I've mentioned before, everything you've seen so far, from the enclosure files, the wiring diagram, and the firmware, is available on Arc.
Arc is a platform built around open source replicable projects, and that's exactly how I wanted this to exist.
Not as a perfect finished product, but as something you can build yourself, modify, and even improve over time.
And the coolest part is that Arc isn't just about getting files, but also about connecting with a community of makers from all over the world, sharing ideas and building on each other's work.
With that said, let's hop on to the demo.
As soon as I connect it to the computer, the Plachitech logo pops up while the device connects to the Wi-Fi and grabs the data it needs. A moment later, the main screen appears, and from there, everything is ready to go. At this point, you can already start using it. Turning the knob adjusts the volume of the computer instantly, and pressing it mutes or unmutes the audio.
It is simple, but I cannot stress enough how having a physical control that you can reach without thinking makes such a huge difference. It's just so convenient.
The touch buttons handle media control. You can tap previous, play or pause, and next to manage whatever music or video is playing. Now, beyond basic controls, the device has different modes. The first one is clock mode. This shows the current time, the date, and the weather from your city. To switch between modes, you just touch the mode button. The next one is a timer. To set it, you long press the knob, select the number of minutes, and then short press to confirm. Once the timer finishes, the device sounds an alarm, and you can stop it by pressing any button or using the knob, no matter which mode you're currently in. The next mode shows my YouTube subscriber count. It displays how many subs I currently have and how close I am to my goal. I set mine to 500,000, which is why it currently shows 99%. After that comes stopwatch mode. A long press on the knob starts it. Another long press stops it. And another long press resets it. The final mode controls the LEDs. You might have noticed they're always running in the background, giving the device an awesome aura. In this mode, a long press lets you enter settings, and then short presses switch between different lighting patterns, like fading, breathing, and overlay. And you can also adjust their brightness by turning the knob. To put the device on standby, just touch and hold the mode button for a couple of seconds, and to turn it on, just press it again.
And that's the full system, built exactly around what I need and how I use my computer every day. Again, if you want to build your own, all the files are already on Arc for you to work with. And if you do end up building your own and it looks better than mine, don't tag me.